I truly believe that we're given everything we need to start. Maybe not finish, maybe not grow, maybe not master, but we're given everything we need to start. And every step along this way, I just have this nagging curiosity that I've never had before. I have this nagging curiosity. I have this desire to want to be great. I want to be one of the greats when it's all said and done. I want someone to look at this journey and be inspired by it. I want them to see that I left it all on the line. And I've been surrounded by so many great leaders that I just bug them. I bug them. I don't have any special sauce. I don't have any special pitch. I just bug them. And
hello and welcome to episode 5 of our podcast Street Smart. I'm Anu Chakravarti with the Global Center for Youth Futures here in Atlanta. We are so pleased to have with us Dion Dawson. He's founder and chief dreamer of Dion's Chicago Dream. Dion dreams of a future in which your zip code should not determine your lifespan. In other words, where you live should not determine your health, your diet, your dignity. And he has acted on that dream, creating a first of its kind model that blends logistics and data to deliver millions of pounds of fresh produce directly to families' doors across Chicago. Dion is solving for the problem of food deserts, that is, neighborhoods without access to fresh produce, fruits, and vegetables. He has reframed access to fresh produce as a matter of health equity, because in food deserts, people are several times more likely to be economically vulnerable, nutrition insecure, and sick. Dion and his team have built a supply chain that actually solves this problem. Dion's Chicago Dream started in one neighborhood. It now operates in 77 neighborhoods in the Chicago area. And in just 4 years, he has mounted a very successful revenue generation operation that sustains the entire supply chain. And he has grown his dream into an innovation-powered movement in the food delivery industry. For this work, Dion has been recognized as TED Fellow, Rockefeller Fellow, and he has received a whole bunch of other accolades. Dion, welcome. So pleased to have you with us here today.
No, thanks. Thanks for having me. Excited to talk shop a little bit.
Tell me, Dion, how did you come up with the idea? Did you visualize the supply chain at the get-go? Did you visualize the whole thing at the outset, or did it come together one piece at a time?
Oh no, I think it's the opposite. I think I have no idea how I got here. I think if anything, it's been the ignorance of it all that has saved me, and me actually believing that anything is possible. So, when I started, it wasn't really about the supply chain. It was really hyper local. It was really focused in on doing something and feeding people for Juneteenth in 2020. And if anything, it's just been me, for the first time in my life, not waiting to have all of the answers. I didn't, instead I just followed a feeling. And after following that feeling, just kind of believing and wanting something so bad and wanting to be great, the most I've ever wanted to be great, I've been able to kind of string together a few wins in the midst of a lot of losses. So it's been a fun ride.
So tell us, John, take us on the journey with you. Let's start at the very beginning. What was the hyper local experiment that you began with?
Well, it started with someone that I grew up with, coming up to me and saying, hey, with Juneteenth coming up in 2020, what are you going to do for the community? Mm-hmm. And me, for the first time, that question really was the catalyst toward my life's trajectory changing. It was the first time that it wasn't me feeling like a leader. It was me being called upon as a leader. And it was a Gen Zer. So we know Gen Z is hyper aggressive when it comes to accountability, but I appreciate that. And so after that question, I thought and just said, I'm going to feed 100 people. And at that moment, I didn't have any money. I didn't have any prior experience. Of course, I was, homeless and food insecure throughout my childhood. So I understood the pantry model. But right now, at that moment, I was like, okay, I have to figure this out. And so, over the course of the next few weeks, I ended up starting a GoFundMe. From starting the GoFundMe, raising $2,500 in 25 hours. So just being, in your face online, like most people see me now, I was asking for money and saying, hey, can you help me reach this goal? And then we reached the goal. And on July 3rd of 2020, we fed about 96 families. And it was just one of the happiest days of my life. And I remember sitting there talking with one of my mentors, who I'm extremely close with, just tell him like, hey, this is the greatest feeling in the world. I'm going to go after this. So I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm going after it. And she said, what is it? And
Right.
I remember, and I told her, I don't know, but this just felt right. And so I just started doing a little research and ultimately figured out how to start a nonprofit and fundraised again over the same group of people. And in a week was able to raise the $2,000 necessary to legalize the nonprofit. Got a board together and, did whatever we could. And we started Dion Chicago Dream. But it was at that moment that, I started to shift how I did things. It wasn't about what I wanted to do. It was about what I was doing. And so, we started our kind of the moment of deciding food was when I was laying in bed one night, looking on Instagram before bed, and I saw a community fridge that was, somewhere in the United States. I was like, hey, that would be cool if I did that. Got a fridge, got one of the local Inglewood artists to paint it. And September 11th, we debuted it. September 11th, 2020, we debuted Project Dream Fridge. And from there, it was just off to the races. So from that day, September 11th to 2020 to now, it's just been nonstop, just focused on learning, bettering, asking critical questions. And it just started with that fridge. It started with asking myself, here's a fridge. What are we going to put in it? What do we expect anybody else to put anything in it?
Right.
What quality? And then from there, it's just been a daily thing.
And how did you spread the word about the fridge, that such a fridge exists? And
social media and word of mouth. You know what I mean? I think the biggest thing is I just decided that I control the output. You know what I mean? If you look at, I tell people that I'm close to, if you look at the output and not the outcome, you'll be fine as a leader. And so the only thing I determined was I'm going to determine how many times I post, not whether or not, someone likes it, but, I just believe that it would work. And as a result, every day, that's all I focused on. That's all I talked about. And that's all I required everyone else to talk to me about. I put everything in and focused on that.
Yeah, I love this experiment so much. One of the things I'm curious about is what happens when the supplies run out of the fridge.
Oh, yeah.
Finishing.
Oh, no, of course.
Where does that come from?
Well, no. So, early on, we had the only fridge in North America where we didn't want anybody to put anything in there. Because what a lot of people are not talking about with the fridges across the country is that a lot of them are dirty and not kept up. A lot of them have spoiled food in there. A lot of them have rodent issues. And so since we came back every day, I said, hey, listen, if we don't have fresh produce on the south side of Chicago, how can I expect other people to put fresh produce in there? And so we actually told people not to put anything in there. We came back every day and stocked it. And then when it was empty, we locked it up because we wanted to keep it clean. Because what we had to go through early on in the pandemic was we kept getting dropped. We were getting dropped by our insurance carriers because every time we would be featured on the news, they would feel it was too risky because of the pandemic. So we went through like 4 different insurance policies because we had something that was feeding people publicly during a global pandemic.
Right.
We would lock it up every morning. We would, I would go back. We would clean it up. That's how we would do it.
So, when I think about the chain in its entirety, at the end of it, you have the customer or the person who's picking up the food. And then on the very other end side of it, you have sort of the grocery from where you're buying the produce or the company that's supplying it. Do you buy the produce from there, or are these donations?
Oh, no, we've never taken donations. Whatever money we had, it will cost that amount to fill the fridge. Early on, it will cost a little bit under $100 to fill the fridge with fresh produce. We covered that. We never took donated produce because when it came to our fridge, we wanted to stabilize the quality and access. No matter what innovation, no matter what evolution you see from us,
right?
at the heart of whatever program or product we offer, there will always be access and quality that stabilize. And so at the fridge, we never took donated produce.
Right.
I would go to a local grocery store after I dropped my son off at school, or if I had him with me in the back seat, I would go right to the grocery store, fill up my trunk, and then we'll be off to the races filling up the fridge.
And at that time, you were not taking any orders, right? Because now the operation has expanded to the point where you're accepting orders. There are orders.
No, we don't. No, we don't have to accept orders.
Okay.
We know what the limitations are and the allergies and dietary restrictions are,
Okay.
and we make sure we tiptoe around that. But no, we're meant to be the beginning and the entry into a healthier lifestyle. So we have fruits and vegetables that we cycle through, but we also want to keep their allergies and dietary restrictions in mind. But we don't have to do orders because we're not meant to be everything for everybody. We're not trying to provide dairy and fruits and vegetables and proteins. Just with the fruits and vegetables, it's one stable box that week, and it alternates between fruits and vegetables.
Right, but how do you select the household?
We don't select them. We don't select them. They select us. So from word of mouth alone, we're providing delivering to more than 5,300 households and 180 zip codes per week. Our wait list right now is more than 3,000 households. And so, we don't pick them. They pick us. First come, first serve. As we secure funding, we take them off the list. Some will be in perpetuity because of their ailments and because of their age. Others have contacted us and they've removed themselves from the list when they've been in a better position. That's the thing. What we have to be is reactive and reflect and flexible to the needs of the people we're serving, but we don't pick them. We're honored to serve.
Yes. So is there an app that you've developed, or how do they contact you? And
they call us.
I mean, this is a data-driven it's an entire operation.
No, absolutely. But the data still centers from human interaction. So, when we started this, we didn't have the resources to have an app, and there wasn't anything available. It was a shoestring and duct taping so many different things together. But the bigger thing is when we talk about that data, it's about, okay, cool. What is the data from our food? What is the data from our delivery? And what is the data from our touch point? We do a bi-weekly touch point with our community health workers, making sure we collect qualitative data points around how they're experiencing our people, our produce, and our delivery. And when it comes to our produce, we're making sure that everything is brand new, and we're tracking some of those health outcomes for any of our people that receive our food as medicine boxes. And then with the delivery, we have our route dispatching software from our routing app, letting us know the average time per delivery and our overall success rate for delivery. That enough across as many delivery functions that we've done. We've done more than 430,000 deliveries over the last 4 years. It grows into this aggregation of data that nobody else has.
Yes, I see that. But I guess my question is sort of, how do you know how many boxes you have to deliver this week in this particular neighborhood?
Well, because we have all of the delivery information. So, for example, that 5,300 across the week is broken down into dispatched routes per day. So we have we have 10 different delivery crews across the county every week and every day. So all we have to do is we know the labor, we know the vehicles. We break down based on capacity. Every vehicle, our larger vehicles can hold up to 125 of our boxes. So we know that that's the capacity. We break down and dispatch the routes based upon the amount of time it would take and how long they're out there. So from there, if this day we have 10 crews out on Monday and we have 535 deliveries that need to be made, it's broken down based on where they are, and it's broken down with the capacity of the vehicle.
Yeah, but I mean, do you go knock on the door and say, hi, here's a... No. Who needs it?
Because they're not kicked off of our delivery. So when they receive one delivery, they're getting one next week. That's the difference with us. We're not doing randomized.
It's not a one-time.
We've never been a one-time delivery operation, because if someone is food secure Monday, chances are they're going to be food insecure next Monday. What we've done is we just acknowledged in our model that we can't just feed someone once and say we solved it for them.
Right.
If we feed them once, we're going to feed them again.
Right.
And that is why I said some people will be there in perpetuity. Others, when they feel they're in a better position, they communicate that to us, and then they're taking off of the route.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. What about the economic viability, Dion? You mentioned that, you know, the you've been able to raise funds from that
Yes.
first $2,500
Yes.
to now sustaining this entire operation. The customer or the client at the end of the chain doesn't pay anything into this, right?
No.
Nothing.
No.
And so the money is being raised via donations.
Yes, via donations, via grants, and earned revenue.
And how do you earn that revenue?
So we earn our revenue through being through our food as medicine, our produce prescription contracting.
Okay.
So because of produce prescription from medical plans and hospital systems, they need contractors to procure and deliver. So
Okay.
we're a contractor because we own our assets, we pay our team, and we purchase our produce. We're able to be a contractor for food as medicine programs.
I see. Because one of the things I was thinking when I, you know, was doing some research on Dion's Chicago Dream is, you know, do you worry at all about your ability to sustain this supply chain if the bulk of it is driven through donations? And, you know, we know in the nonprofit world that, you know, funding is being cut from everywhere, and, you know, things are tough right now. Do you worry about if there is no financial buy-in on the part of the customer?
Not at all. Not at all. Things have always been dire for the last few decades when it comes to food security. Of course, the numbers are worse, but I would say this climate looks different.
Yeah.
Year over year giving changes only 0.1% because of the positioning of the tax write-off within capitalism. It's not gone, it's different. I've starved before. That's what I worry about. I don't worry about being able to lead something that can feed people. Why? Because I decided that leadership fit me. And so if I decided that, then I understand that if I cannot handle the pressure of maintaining the build, I'm not meant for this. It is extremely hard to live right now, and it is extremely hard to lead. That does not mean that every day I'm only waking up and telling myself what I can't do. Is it different? Is it difficult? Sometimes it is. But also, I believe in what we're doing.
Yes.
I believe in what we built. I believe in the team that I have with me. And I believe in myself. If I believe anything is possible and I believe in all of those things, then every single day I'm going to wake up the same exact way, which is how can I continue to add value to the org? How can I continue to add value to the lives of the people we're serving and the people who are serving the people we're serving? And how do I look at this big, vast amount of money in philanthropy, and how do I convince myself I can get a piece of that?
Right. Walk us a little bit, Dion, through the fundraising journey, because your voice is one of defiance and hope, and there's so much positivity I'm hearing. And then, you know, I mean, all over the internet is just negativity. I mean, there's no money and everything's shutting down and we can't sustain our services. And, you know, so I think, and I know you have a way with words. I track your Instagram posts, and I know you have a way with words, and I can see how you might be, you know, you bring that sort of personal charisma to your fundraising efforts. But a little bit about the journey and, you know, a little insight into the nuts and bolts of how it was, how difficult it was, and how it grew, and how you kind of sustain it over time.
Well, I think the biggest thing is I actually, when it comes to my charisma, I try to lean out of it. I don't. Of course, I think some of it is charisma. Some of it is me being a comms person and having media training, but also it's really about being as forthcoming and honest with everyone. You know, I don't go into conversations with millionaire family offices and multi-million-dollar companies and change how I talk. If anything, I remember the first reoccurring donation from someone that I didn't know. Still a reoccurring donor today. His name is Thomas Boykin, who's a
Okay.
$5 monthly donor.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate that because that is the value that Thomas saw in being a part of the dream team.
That's right.
When it comes to fundraising, first and foremost, it's not about just trying to go out and get as much money as you can.
Mm-hmm.
First, we have to ask ourselves, who are we? Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're fundraising, you're sharing out who you are. What's your
Mm-hmm.
core ethos? What's your values? What's your product? What's your
Mm-hmm.
program? And I think the beautiful thing about what we've been able to do is I honed in on understanding what our core value prop was, knowing who we were and knowing what we gave to people. And as
Mm-hmm.
a result, I was able to share out with that. When you
Yeah.
look at, Pepsi, when you look at Coca-Cola, when you look at KFC, they know their core product. Their recipe to this thing is the value driver for the company. And so as a result, I asked myself, when it came to knowing who we were, what is our core product or program? And it's
Yeah.
dream deliveries. And so when we talk about that fundraising journey, before it got to dream deliveries, it was the fridge. So I had
Yeah.
to be clear and explain to people, hey, it costs about $25,000
Mm-hmm.
to fill this fridge per year. That equates to about $125 per day. I had to understand the macroeconomics of our program in order to share out. And so while people think that I focus in on my charisma or my ability to connect to people, it really was about leaning out of it and learning the other side. It was
Right.
holding myself accountable to consistency. It was
Right.
understanding the economics and the operations and the logistics so that
Right.
when I'm sharing out online, where it can line up with what I'm sharing out in person. It
Mm-hmm.
can line up with how I'm talking to my family to
Yeah.
support, as well as my friends, as well as people I don't know. And so I think it really boiled down to being able to be exactly who I needed to be
Yeah.
across the entire spectrum so that I can build the momentum for the fundraising. So it really was my first major point was just understanding, hey, it's $25,000 to fill this fridge.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
what we need.
That's
And
what.
from there,
Right.
and then
Right.
from there, what is the next expense? What
Mm-hmm.
is the next expense after that? And then starting to understand as I got accounting assistants, understanding, okay, cool. This is how how I read the profit and loss statement. This is how I understand financing. And then when I started getting assistance with grant writing from my chief of growth now, Jeff, learning about grant writing and learning about narrative. Now I'm a writer, and so I leaned out of storytelling because everybody can weave a narrative. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to find a good balance of tangible value and narrative building so that
Mm-hmm.
everyone can see it. And I think we're not perfect. We can always be better. But I think that we've been approachable and we've been tangible. And if you if you scroll all the way down, and if you go
Right.
all the way to the bottom of our Instagram or go all the way to our first post, everyone can track that growth. It's
Yeah.
not about trying to be perfect, but everyone can see that when I learned something, I applied it. When I realized this wasn't just about emergency food and it was
Mm-hmm.
about food security, I learned and I applied. When I
Yeah.
realized it wasn't just about food security, it was about health equity. I made sure that I learned and I applied. When I realized that it wasn't just about feeding people, but about wealth building vehicles that need to be attached to your model, I learned and I applied. So if anything, when it comes to fundraising, storytelling in general, you see me in real time, just always tweaking. It's like we're almost like an app in real life. It's just put out V1 and then you're just always tinkering and tooling.
Right. What do you think? I mean, you've grown so fast, and when as I hear you speak, you are telling me that you learned fast as well.
Yes,
Uh, um, what do you think prepared you for this? Do you think there were life experiences, or
I think that I
because
think
in a way it's like running a machine now. You're
But,
running.
but but listen, I'll tell you this:
Yeah.
everything that I've been through, I think that's when you know you're meant to do something because you
Yeah.
draw from so many experiences. You draw from your own, you draw from someone else's. You learn from your industry, you learn from others. You
Yeah.
you realize that the five or 10 jobs you had all have played a part in what you apply every day. And so, no, like of course, I can take some of the experience from the military, but a lot of it comes from Inglewood and the South Side of Chicago and what I've learned and the people that have poured into me my entire life. I learned the importance of putting your head down and logistics. I learned that from working overnights at Amazon and how I would just turn my brain off to make sure that I got everything done during my shift. I learned about not getting bored with doing the same thing every day from being deployed, and how I had to figure out how to keep myself interested in the monotony of doing the same thing every day. I learned about loving and caring for people because I remember not being cared for when I was in line at the pantry with my mom. And so I think it's everything that I've been through and everything I continue to go through that propels me into another stratosphere, but it keeps me grounded in people in real life exchanges.
Yeah, but I think you definitely bring something unique to this there are a lot of people in need and a lot of people who've grown up with similar experiences, Dion, but not everybody had the courage to dream or to learn so fast to turn that dream into a working reality.
But I'll tell you this. I think that, the one correction is it wasn't fast. You know what I mean? If we're judging off hours committed, you know what I mean? There were 80, 90, 100-hour work weeks where I barely got any sleep. It wasn't fast. And I don't think anyone has my exact combination of experiences, but we're taught to dream by dreamers. And I think right now, my role is to be that person that can help people dream. I'm no better than anybody else. I don't have a college degree. I didn't go to business school. I don't care, because in the fire, in every day, it's about recommitting yourself. Right. And I just know that I'm meant to do this. But absolutely, someone may not be dreaming, but also it's really hard to dream right now. You're reminded every day of why you shouldn't dream.
The futility of dreaming.
Exactly. Like it's something that I bring a joy to this every day because I know what my bottom was. I've battled depression. I've battled suicidal thoughts and attempts. I've been on the other side of the world and been lonely. I've wished my phone would ring and it didn't. I've lived in my car and went to school and didn't feel valued. I'm just lucky that I didn't give up. And so I think from there, that appreciation and my desire is to motivate and inspire as many people to go for it. Because that's what we need right now. We need to be reminded that we can do it. And there's so many things trying to convince us that we can.
Yeah. Tell me, Dion, as I hear you speak, I think part of the secret to learning or navigating in those early days was sort of your access to a mentor. How did you find a mentor, and how did you assemble your team of go-to people, those you trusted and they're committed to the idea and you're in this to build this for good?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I'm so lucky in that, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But I'm thankful that, I truly believe that we're given everything we need to start. Maybe not finish, maybe not grow, maybe not master, but we're given everything we need to start. And every step along this way, I just have this nagging curiosity that I've never had before. I have this nagging curiosity. I have this desire to want to be great. I want to be one of the greats when it's all said and done. I want someone to look at this journey and be inspired by it. I want them to see that I left it all on the line. And I've been surrounded by so many great leaders that I just bug them. I bug them. I don't have any special sauce. I don't have any special pitch. I just bug them. And from everyone, from my vice president, Danielle Parker, to my board member, Doug Weiss, to my mom, to my wife, to Dory McWhorter, who's at the executive club.
You bug them all.
Yeah, I because they have been so amazing about allowing me to be me. I tell people all the time, I would not be in this work or on this earth without the love and protection and opportunity that was given to me by Black women. And so as a result, I can name countless like Black women who have shown up and shown out and given me access and given me different tips and given me advice and protected me and loved on me. And so I owe that back to the market. I owe that back to the industry. And so that's all I do. And so it's this constant exposure to those who have done more than me and those who are coming after me. And I always have a good mix of those so that I'm always rejuvenated by the opportunity not to just lead, but to follow and to ask questions and to find what works for me. And it's crazy you asked that question because one of my mentors and dear friends is Angelique Power, who's the president of the Stillman Foundation in Detroit. Okay. And it was so funny this week that she posted something on LinkedIn either today or yesterday about utilizing endowments to create more endowments for smaller. What's funny about that was I just had that conversation with one of my partners and I didn't tell anybody because I learned from her.
Yeah.
Because I learned and she poured into me, I naturally went upstream on my own and we met at this point of thought. And so if anything, it's just being exposed to so much thought and so much love and so much care. I mean, I'm even getting goosebumps thinking about it, but it's just, I'm so lucky to be around people who have poured into me and who let me pour into them because I also make sure that with those mentors, I pour love into them. I say, hey, we're colleagues. Yeah. It's not just about you being better or more advanced. No, you need love, you need protection, you need to be encouraged too. So it's always this two-way relationship of my natural gifts being able to give them value as well.
I think that's really important for young people to remember because sometimes it may feel like nobody's listening or, but there's, if you bug them enough and if you can connect with them, I think there are streams of love, affection, advice, protection that are forthcoming. You just have to put yourself out there and make an effort to find it.
But and also understanding that it is not on my mentor or any of my mentors to be the core of my belief in myself.
Yes.
That is on me. They can enhance that, they can hurt it, but they cannot create it. And so you're absolutely right. I go to these relationships as being who I am, saying, hey, this is me, love me, help me, teach me, but you do not create me.
Yes.
And as a result, it allows me to be the best version of myself possible.
Tell me, Dion, what do you think about the possibility of, clearly this experiment has scaled, right? So it works. And there is a formula that you have figured out that is sustaining this thing. And I wonder what your thoughts are about replicating your dream in other places, in other big cities.
Listen, I not only do I welcome it, I encourage it. I think when you look at what we've been able to do, it's not necessarily saying, hey, Dion, I need you everywhere. There are Dions everywhere already. Yeah. What we need them to be is we need them to be inspired. We need them to love themselves. We need them to understand what ask themselves, what do they want to help with? And then after that, and committing to being a forever learner. And then committing to being a forever trier. And then there, understanding where can you start?
Right.
And once you start, how do you hold yourself accountable to every day chipping away? Those things alone will get right to the core of those people wherever they are, and they start there. Then from there, it's okay, cool. How much does it cost to do this, for the year? How can we hold everyone accountable to supporting us? That's all it is. And I'm painting broad strokes because I don't get to pick for them. But what I do know is that this thing took consistency.
Yes.
It took ignorance. It took joy.
Yes.
It took a lot of long hours, some days shorter than others. But more importantly, it took vision. And everyone has vision. I need them to cultivate their own vision. Do you want to start with housing? Do you want to start with food? Do you want to start with trade? Do you want to start with AI? Do you want to start with data? Anything. You can do anything. And we need that talent and that focus when it comes to social services and critical needs, because that's all of the talent is going to the corporate world, and a lot of it is underserved and underfunded when it comes to the social world.
Right. Are you familiar with anything similar in, say, the city of Atlanta or, Detroit?
Similar as mine, no. But
Okay.
but we're gonna make sure I'm gonna hold myself accountable that next year when we talk, that answer changes.
Yes, you have to spread the light, Dion.
Absolutely. I got to
That's
do better.
Well, before we close, Dion, on behalf of the Global Center for Youth Futures, we tip our hat to you and your team for all the smart and absolutely intentional and exceptional work that you do. Thank you so much for spending time with us. I know you're always on the move, you're super busy, but we hope that you will be back here with us sometime not too far in the future and tell us more about how your work has grown. Chief Dreamer, keep dreaming, keep innovating. And thank you so much for your time today.
Definitely. Look, thank you all. And listen, thank you for the work you do. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you for the love and appreciation of my team. And please hold me accountable. I don't care how busy I am. Just like this interview, we're gonna figure it out.
We
Because
will figure it out. Yes.
our leaders should be tangible, and right now we need them more than ever. So I appreciate that.
I'll take a tip from you. I'll keep bugging you till you.
Keep bugging. I don't take any offense to it.
All right. That's it for us today. To our audience, thank you so much for listening. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.